Well, Minnesota Vikings get absolutely cremated by the Green Bay Packers today. Wasn't very pleasable or fun to watch in any way. Wasn't a good showing of anything except for maybe a few plays in the first half. Except you're thinking of defensively. I mean, defensively, the team came to play. Offensively, there's some things to talk about for sure. I was taking notes all game. I think I'm just going to get right into it. This is Twin Cities Sports Talk. I'm Bruce Kramer, and this is the post-game reaction to the Vikings getting demolished by the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Let's get right to it. I took notes just throughout the whole game. I'm going to go through it, kind of not play by play, but each play I felt like writing something down. You're going to hear about it here. First quarter, first drive, bubble screen to Addison. We've seen a lot from TJ Hawkinson this year, but I mean, a lot of these plays, not a lot of people are going to remember in the grand scheme of things because after a performance like that, you're not going to remember the little things from a lot of it. But on this bubble screen to Addison that got blown up by Bullard, Hawkinson completely misses his block, just his whole assignment. If Bullard's looking towards the ball, that is most likely 99% of the time a pick six. So we got very lucky there to start the game. And from there, there's not a lot of stuff to go on today, but I'm going to do my best to keep it positive here because, like I said, not a lot of positivity in Minnesota right now after a performance like that, but we'll keep going here. First Packers play. I mean, this guy keeps showing up for the Vikings, Jalen Redmond. He absolutely stuffs Emmanuel Wilson on the first Packers offensive play. And then the flat to Dontavian Wicks. Big miscommunication by Eric Wilson and Isaiah Rodgers on that. That was on about the 10-yard line in the first quarter when the Packers scored the first touchdown. Wicks got to the 1-yard line on that play. Rodgers thought he was covering the fade. I think it was Romeo Doubs in the corner of the end zone. Wilson thought he was coming over, and he thought a safety was coming over to play Rodgers' spot. It was a big miscommunication. Wicks got a 15-yard gain on that to get right down to the 1-yard line of the Packers. Waltz into the end zone there. All right, Vikings get the ball again, and honestly put together a phenomenal, a really good another second drive. It got to a point where Kevin O'Connell is running the ball on 3rd and 1, which all of us would like to see because we struggled with that for a few weeks straight here. And it's nice to see him just pound the rock with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason because guess what? This run game was damn good in that first half. Very good. Our offensive line was blocking their butts off, creating holes. You could really see a different presence having Ryan Kelly. And I'm going to keep this very strict. In the first half, it was great seeing Ryan Kelly back out there for the run game specifically because you could see a big difference in that, creating a lot of big holes. A great sequence with 3.5 minutes left in the first quarter there. Eric Wilson, he gets the blocked pass off Jordan Love, and then Rodgers makes a great play kind of on the boundary on Luke Musgrave, kind of hitting that ball away. It was a bad throw by Jordan Love either way. Isaiah Rodgers makes a play on it, followed up by a terrible play by Blake Cashman. Wilson gets unblocked, goes right at Love on 3rd down and 10. This is where the Vikings have struggled all year on these long third downs. A lot of the year, it seemed like Brian Flores has dropped guys back, which obviously isn't his identity. He's blitzing the crap out of teams, and everyone knows that, and they're expecting it. But all year on 3rd down, the Vikings have seemed to only rush 4 passers most of the time, and it's really backfired on them because these quarterbacks are sitting back and picking them apart because, honestly, like without the blitz, it is almost as if a lot of the time when we're sending 4, they can't really get home. And I mean, most of the time, the Vikings are blitzing. So the running back for these teams, or they're going to have an extra tight end blocking. That's another reason why when you send 4 guys, they're not going to get home as often because you blitz so much. These teams do adjust to it. They send a running back. They send a tight end in the block, and it's going to be a less of a conversion for a sack or a loss of yardage if you're sending 4 on these plays on 3rd and long. Either way, Blake Cashman, he delayed dropping back and was way too slow getting back, which Jordan Love eventually just threw up effort ball to Dontavian Wicks there for a 12-yard gain in the first down when Eric Wilson was going right at Jordan Love's chest. Just a terrible. It was a heartbreaker for that specific drive and that play right there. Then that same drive, it kind of kept some positivity into it. Dallas Turner keeping it going, gets a sack. Veteran move there, coming up around the edge and then seeing Jordan Love take one step up in the pocket. He comes around and makes a great play and stopping Jordan Love from getting up in the pocket too far. It's a 4-yard sack. Great play by Dallas Turner. All right. But overall, each quarter I'm going to rate JJ McCarthy through, because I think we can all agree that's what we're focused on right now most. And I'm going to rate each quarter on how he was in each quarter. The first quarter, I gave it an 8 out of 10 because guess what? He commanded the offense. Yeah, he missed a throw, but he got the ball out, which, it's a different story in the second half, and we'll go over that, obviously. But he had a very impressive throw to Justin Jefferson down the middle of the field in the first drive. The first drive was going very well until that bubble screen I was just talking about. Scripted plays, it seems like they practice that a lot during the week, and it kind of goes to crap beyond that, because if we don't score a touchdown on these scripted plays on the first and second drive, I don't think you can expect really anything much from the offense right now until they actually show that they can, do anything in the second and third, and right now do anything in the fourth quarter. JJ played well in the first quarter. He made throws. He got the ball out. That's all you really want to see from him. He was 4 for 7 in the first. All right. Second quarter, run blocking keeps being stellar. Mason gets into the secondary twice in a row to start the second quarter. One for a 18-yard burst and then one for a 9-yard gain. Great run blocking. All right. And then that eventually turned into a play call, which I keep getting more and more mad at for Kevin O'Connell making. 3rd and 1 on the 17 in the red zone. This is the only time that the Vikings were in the red zone today, which is just sad by itself. All right. But the one time they were in the red zone, it's 3rd and 2. Jordan Mason gets stuffed. All right. And then 4th and 1 on the 17. This play call I could rant on for about hours. Kevin O'Connell's done this about 3 or 4 times this year, if I had to guess, where he, on 4th and 1, there's an empty backfield. It's just JJ back there in shotgun, and he has 3 wide receivers on the field and sends TJ Hawkinson in a motion, and he's almost thinking like Kevin O'Connell, in his thought process through this is he's going to catch the Packers very start there. He's going to make him jump he's going to make him adjust to a TJ Hawkinson, a wash tight end, taking the snap under center and trying to QB sneak it. He's thinking that he's going to get a jump on the Packers defense on this play. And that's what he's been thinking about it all year. I think this play has worked once. This was beyond stupid with how great the running has been. Your offensive line, the entire first half was creating holes. Ryan Kelly was getting upfield and creating massive holes. And Jordan Mason was getting upfield through the A gap on a ton of different plays. Same with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had a few good runs. On the first drive, he had a run for 14 in the first down where he trucked through a few dudes. When you have that going for you, when this offensive line is hot, remind you, this is the same drive Jordan Mason had an 18-yard run, and it's not like it's an outside run where there's only a few playmakers on the defense that could make a play. These runs were right up the gut, right up the A and B gap, and Jordan Mason got through. And then the same drive, he thinks it's a smart idea to have TJ Hawkinson and here's the thing. If you're going to try a QB sneak or a tush push or anything like that, you need to have someone there to push the tush. Okay. That was unacceptable. You have 3 wide receivers on the field doing nothing on that play. If you're going to have 3 wide receivers on the field, get 2 of them behind TJ Hawkinson and push, because the Packers were ready for it. They did not get startled by TJ Hawkinson going under center. They said, oh my gosh, TJ Hawkinson under center with no one behind him except their quarterback, who they know JJ McCarthy's already injury prone, is what the thing is right now. He is injury prone for all we know. They're not going to have him push TJ Hawkinson. No, they're not going to do that. So the Packers were licking their jaw. They were licking their lips at this. Their entire D line. It is beyond stupid with how great we were running the ball. And if you're going to have 3 wide receivers out there doing absolutely nothing like he did, like I said, put 2 of them behind or all 3 for God's sake and push TJ Hawkinson, because I think if he gets a push, TJ actually got pretty close, but he tumbled on his head on the outside because he got absolutely stuffed at first. Then he has to cut to the outside of the line a little bit, and he still misses it. If you have some pushback there, but what I would have done even better, get your wide receivers off the field. If you are planning a tush push, just do it. The Packers were ready for it either way, and get 2 other tight ends on the field and get some big guys behind TJ Hawkinson pushing his tush. That is an absolute drive killer. And obviously it killed the drive. It was 4th down on their 17-yard line. All right. I would have gone for it just like Kevin did any day of the week. I don't kick there on 4th and 1 but you have to think, oh, they've been running the ball so well this drive. They've been running the ball so well in the first half. They're just going to run the ball up the gut, because they did it like 3 other times on 3rd and 1, and we converted because Jordan Mason is made for those situations. But no, Kevin, you're getting too cute. You're getting too into your play call sheet. And that set the tone for a lot of it, because after that, the offense was not the same any other time throughout this game. I'm done with that play, because if I keep talking about it, I'm going to get too heated at it. All right, Packers field goal attempt with 2:28. This crap can't happen either, okay? We had 11 guys on the field, all right? This is more on that special. If you go back to the first episode, I think it was first or second episode, where I talked extensively about the Vikings season so far, Matt Daniels is, in my opinion, the worst special teams coach in the NFL, and he is proving that again today. We'll get to another worse one later, but he has 11 guys on the field, and then he is frantically telling Ivan Pace, get off the field. We have 12 men. No, know what you're doing a little bit better, for God's sake. We are so lucky that flag didn't get called, and Kevin O'Connell had to come save it by sprinting his butt down the sideline and screaming timeout at the official. But then again, we wasted a timeout when we didn't need to. There was already 11 guys on the field, all right? Like that again, it's these stupid mistakes on and on and on again, all right? You think it's going to get better. Every week we come in and say it's going to get better. They're going to clean up these special teams mistakes, but every week, again and again, they show us they're incapable of fixing this. And I think the only option right now is to get Matt Daniels fired, because we will get to that punt in a little bit here. All right. So that field goal happens. All right. And then comes the last good play by the offense all day, which is just sad to say. The last good play was in the first half, because JJ delivered an absolute dime to Justin Jefferson right over Valentine's fingers. It was a perfectly placed ball and a great catch by Justin Jefferson. And right there, clean pocket. JJ had the leg room to make the throw. He didn't kick his back leg up when he threw. He planted it and fired it in there. And this is that foundation that Kevin's been talking about, watching the cement dry with his feet. That's exactly what he needs to be doing, all right? And that was a clean pocket. And JJ that was a great job stepping up in the pocket, get some more time in there. It was a perfectly delivered ball and the last good play of the entire game by the offense. Because then after that, JJ takes a bad sack where he could have. The Packers rushed 4 on this play, and I don't think Micah Parsons was even in on this play. JJ is in the pocket, and he has 2 guys kind of coming up in the same exact spot. I forget which Packers players they were. And he had a lot of room to run. If you step up, you have quite a bit of room to run. I mean, the linebackers were on the end of the side, because by the way, this is 2-minute offense here. This was and here's another thing that timeout that we spent on that 11 men on the field. That could have been useful here. We wasted a timeout and we had a chance with the 2-minute offense here. But JJ, he had a lot of room to run, but instead he takes a terrible sack, gets us back into midfield. And then we barely get a field goal, but Will Reichert is just a blessing right now, and maybe the most positive thing on the team. He's amazing. His 2 missed kicks this year have hit wires, which the NFL needs to fix, obviously, and they won't admit it either, which is just terrible by itself. All right, JJ's second quarter. He took a bad sack, which knocks him down a few points. I gave him a 6 out of 10 because here's the thing. He got them into field goal range. He made an impressive throw, but you also have to remember in the second quarter, the Vikings had like 5 combined minutes of time of possession, all right? And 3 of those, or like 2 of those, were the 2-minute offense there. And here's the thing in the first half. JJ didn't turn the ball over. He didn't even put it in harm's way. You could say that throw to Justin Jefferson was about 2 inches from being blocked by Corey Valentine. But in my words, it's just a perfect throw. And I think that's how a lot of people would categorize that. But JJ was great in the first half. He didn't have the yardage, but the whole offense, yeah, we came away with 6 points, but the whole offense was very good as a whole. All right. Third quarter. First drive, we really get to Jordan Love. The defense made him rattle. Jordan had a backwards pass that could have been absolutely terrible for the Packers and these are those plays, Jordan Love, that you see every week where he goes blue screen of death, and does what really no quarterback should do, throw it backwards. That play ended up losing 4 or 5 yards for the Packers. And the Vikings got off the field it was a 3-and-down stop for him. It was a great way to start the second half. And then the special teams, and then this punt. We'll talk about this for a couple minutes. All right, buckle in for this. This is just more icing on the cake that Matt Daniels needs to be fired. And yeah, anyone can say, Miles Price, what are you doing? You need to just get away from the ball. Obviously. But who do you think I mean, maybe it's just the player, but in my opinion, and from what I've seen in the NFL over many, many, many years now, is when you are getting out of the way of a punt, when you are protecting it and letting it go for a touchback, you cannot find many other punt returners that go and block. Most of the time, I mean, oh my gosh, 99.7% of the time, these punt returners will get out of the way and point towards the ball. They will stay by the ball and make sure no one hits it. All right. They're going to point at it and they're going to watch it go into the end zone. I don't think Miles Price does that on purpose. I think 100% Matt Daniels said block. And I think that's his word getting in, because you will not see. I mean, you can not find a lot of guys that go automatically right when the ball is dropped, go block. I don't care if it's the 5-yard line or the 20-yard line that it's on. This one was close to the end zone. It was inside the 10, obviously. And it was a great punt by Waylon. It was a great punt because it took a backwards bounce and was going to stay inside the 10. But this is, in my opinion, they're not going to come out and say it unless Matt Daniels gets fired tomorrow, which he absolutely needs to be. Hey, one thing, I'll get back to it, but no special teams penalties today for all I remember, and I was looking very closely for it. I didn't see one of those. That's the first time in a game this year where we didn't have a special teams penalty. Matt Daniels needs to be fired because of those reasons, the penalties, and then this. You can't find me another punt returner that instinctually goes and blocks. They instinctually point towards the ball and make sure no one of his teammates hit it. Make sure the ball gets to the end zone, and it's dumbfounding because I am very convinced that is not Miles Price's fault, because even at the camera, Miles looked at they panned to Matt Daniels talking to Miles Price, and Miles Price seemed like it looked like a I don't know. This is what I was told, coach. Block. We need the ball to go into the end zone. I need you blocking type thing. It did not seem like he was hanging his head a lot about it. Didn't seem like his fault. I mean, it is his fault. He let the ball hit him, obviously. We can't sugarcoat that. But not a lot of coaches preach to block because there's always going to be that risk. And it happened tonight. And from that point on, the Packers scored in 2 plays there. And from that point on, it went to absolute crap. And by the way, this defense let up 1 touchdown today. This defense held Jordan Love to 1 touchdown. This defense played great today. But after that, our first drive in the second half, yeah, you are down by 11. You have an entire half, Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell, this is the biggest gripe I have about it right now. Yes, you're down 11, but you cannot abandon the run game. After an amazing first half where you had big chunks, which we have not seen all year. We've had good, like medium chunks, good 4 or 5 yard rushes. Our average rush yardage is above 4, and it's into the 5 some games. This game, it was way above that. We were getting big chunks from the run game. We have not seen that since Delvin Cook consistently, is what I mean. And you completely abandoned that. I get you can't control what happened on the special teams, but when you can control is you can control putting together good drives, just like in the first half. Yeah, they came away with field goals, but my gosh, that is your own fault because you had 4th and 1 in the red zone and you gave it to TJ Hawkinson with no support. You can't go away from the run game in this situation because what happened here, the Packers adjusted very quickly to it. They said, oh, wow, okay, they're down by 11 and they're not going to run the ball at all. All right. We are going to create some stunts here. We're going to have Micah Parsons line up in the middle linebacker position and get a running start because guess what? That drive, it got depressing to watch and it got very hard to watch. The Vikings get the ball on their own 10 or whatever. It's second down, and Micah Parsons, he's just fast. And again, here's another thing. Christian Darrisaw was terrible today. Absolutely terrible. And Micah Parsons got right around him. He actually arm barred him, got his arm under Darrisaw's, and basically just flipped Darrisaw over him, like his arm, and it basically put his whole body because of the momentum. He just got right past them, sacks JJ onto the 5-yard line. And then, I mean, that was already tough as it is. And then you have another play where you see Micah Parsons lining up in the middle of the field, 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. He gets a running start and absolutely bulldozes Ryan Kelly, puts Ryan Kelly straight on his ass. It was so hard to watch that play because JJ somehow got out of the end zone. He got hit hard. I mean, he comes off the field with his face mask and his chin strap broken off. He got destroyed on that play and somehow made it to the half-yard line to save it from a safety. But this offensive line was 2 steps away from maybe the worst performance this year, which is just so funny because, and here's the thing, you can't blame every single piece of it on the offensive line because like I was kind of getting to there, Kevin O'Connell completely abandoned the run in the second half. You have an entire half to catch up, and you go blue screen of death in the playbook and say, all right, we got to get the ball out and pass. We need to, and it was just wrong because that gave the Packers all the juice they needed. And that gave them all the momentum. Micah Parsons started just a sack factory there. And it was not fun to watch. But it honestly, it's like it's equal third parts of blame. Third of it, the blame goes to JJ because yeah, he can get the ball out at least close to someone, but he also doesn't want to put it in harm's way. And when he's getting pressured in 1.8 seconds, it's not easy to do so. And then a quarter of that or a third of that blame goes to KO for not running the ball and keeping it simple for him. And then a third of it goes to the offensive line. I think that the offensive line should get more than that, obviously, but a lot can go wrong and they still don't adjust. And that second half, I mean, I'm assuming everyone saw the stat. 4 yards in the second half. I mean, this is getting historically bad. Absolutely, it's historically bad. It just is. Yardage, third down percentage, points scored. It's getting terrible. And it's so hard to say where this is coming from. And I will say, I am not giving up on JJ McCarthy. I won't. And here's the thing: if I say on one of these shows I give up on JJ McCarthy this year, someone can comment and say, "All right, you lied. You said you wouldn't do this." Because no, I will not give up on JJ McCarthy until he does this stuff next year. JJ's had no time to practice. I am still have full faith in him. Okay. But there's so many reasons to where he's not getting any help. Adam Thielen dropped another pass today. I mean, Justin Jefferson was doing all he can, and here's it gets you thinking because Justin Jefferson is such a blessing for not being a diva like an AJ Brown or really any like top wide receiver in the game who has an attitude. That is not Justin Jefferson. He is a team player and he keeps sticking behind JJ McCarthy. But if this stuff keeps happening, I mean, how long does this leash stand for? How long does Justin Jefferson keep saying, okay, I don't know about this, but like I'll keep doing it. But then eventually he's gonna go, okay, I can't do it. I know I signed a contract here, but I want to win somewhere, which all of us would have to respect. And we couldn't call him a diva for that because this man has been through half a dozen quarterbacks in his 6-year career. It's just outrageous, outrageous. And it's sad to think like that. I will say this offseason, we're going to see a new look Vikings team. I think they're going to move on from some of these contracts that they can get out of because it hasn't helped. And I'm talking Ryan Kelly because when we signed Ryan Kelly and we signed Hargrave and Allen, we knew these guys were on the wrong side of 30, first of all. And one of them, being Ryan Kelly, has had 4 concussions going into this year. And then guess what? He had another one. And then today, in the second half, he gets his ass sat on the ground by one of the league's top premier edge rushers. And it just doesn't come as a surprise anymore with this team. It doesn't. It is not fun to watch. It's hard. It's genuinely like hard to watch. I can't watch this game with any delight, and it keeps getting harder every single week. And they just need to completely switch up how they do it on offense. Kevin O'Connell needs to take a page um, out of Sean McVay's playbook here and give some more personnel packages. Sean McVay, 40% of the time this year, is running 13 personnel. And if people don't know what 13 personnel is, that is 3 tight ends on the field at the same time. It opens up a lot of options. You can run the ball like every single play because you're going to get the blocking for it. And maybe that's where the Vikings need to go. But here's the thing: Kevin O'Connell is being immature. He's not willing to adapt, and he's not willing to face the fact that JJ cannot right now. He physically cannot carry out what Kevin is doing. And going back to the second half today, you can say all you want about JJ taking sacks and everything, and about the interceptions late, but I mean, yes, that last interception, that second one was a terrible throw. Obviously, it's trash time though. It's garbage time. It doesn't matter. He's gonna throw the ball as hard as he can downfield. It doesn't matter. All right. The first interception, that's unlucky because he gets his arm whipped around. Kevin O'Connell, yeah, he's leaving a dump off option, but what he had to do in the second half is he had to have one of his running backs chip. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, they had to chip block. And let me remind you, Jordan Mason is not a good blocker at all. He's not a good receiving back. He's not a good blocker. Aaron Jones is a great blocker. But when you have Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary coming from 5 yards off of the line of scrimmage, you can't trust a running back to help out with one tackle of yours. What Kevin had to do today to get more time for JJ is have one of his running backs chip block and then come out in the flat for a safety option there for JJ. But even that, the Packers were getting to him so fast that that safety option was not ready They were not in the flat yet. They were not ready to be thrown the ball to. And all of the other receiving threats, if you look on the screen, you can't see any of them on any short developing routes. All of the wide receivers were tasked with getting downfield and going for some deep shots and just longer developing routes. You don't have time for it. It's not, your offense does not work. We are becoming the worst offense in this year, like statistically, the worst offense, 31st in almost every stat. You need to adjust. And now we're out of the playoffs. There is no shot to the playoffs anymore, which no one, I don't care if you thought JJ McCarthy was going to be a bust at the start of the season, but no one would have thought that the Vikings would be out of the playoff picture before Thanksgiving this year if you had a simple brain. But I blame all of it on Kevin O'Connell's absence from making an adjustment when he needs to. You need to adjust to, and it's not JJ. JJ doesn't need to adjust to what you want. You need to adjust what to he wants, because, and here's the thing, you've been doing better at it. You had the run game in the first half. In the Bears game, you ran the ball 20 plus times, but you can't sustain it because you don't do it. You go down by 11 points. That is a touchdown and a field goal, and then you completely abandon it. Absolute a disgrace of a game. I am done with it. I'm done with it today. I'll talk more about it this week, and I'll have some other guys on the show this week. Co-producer Trev should be back. And then another special guest, Jackson. He'll be joining sometime this week, but we'll talk more about that and some of the other Twins and Wild and Wolves news and talk right now. But for today, we do have a positive. The Minnesota Wild shut out the Winnipeg Jets. And here's the thing. I was gone for most of the Vikings game, so I had to rewatch it after, starting at like 3 o'clock, which is right when the Wild started, coincidentally. So I didn't get to watch the Wild game fully. I watched a couple highlights. I haven't gotten to watch the whole thing yet. But what can you not say about Jesper Wallstedt right now, man? He is dialed in, and I was pounding the table for the past few days for him to start after this streak he's been on. 3 out of the last 4 starts are shutouts for him. He has 3 shutouts this year in his last 4 starts, and then the other one was a win against the Devil. Jesper Wallstedt is now 6-0-1 or 6-0-2, I think, 2 overtime losses. The guy is giving a boost into this Wild team, and the Wild offense, the forecheck, aggressive. Everything about the Wild offense right now is aggressive. You got Marcus Johansson, you got everyone pushing up. You got Marcus Foligno, his first fight of the season tonight, for all I know. I don't think he's had another fight. But everyone, you have Yakov Trenin creating a very good assist for Urov tonight. I mean, that you won't see that again a lot, but it comes against a great team, against one of the best goalies in the NHL in Hellebuck, and against a great team in Winnipeg. And you even up the season series at 1-1, get revenge for in October. Great win by the Wild tonight. And this is a bad look for the show. It's a bad look for me, but in the show's couple day history so far, Twin City Sports Talk, Bruce Kramer is 0-5 in his picks, just absolutely dogging on me right now. I need to get some wins right there. I completely thought Hellebuck having a 7 or 8 day rest period, they purposely didn't start him. He hasn't been great this year, but they purposely didn't start him for 2 games. They were waiting for this game to start him. I thought he was going to come in and have a great day, but I also didn't think this Jesper Wallstedt thing. I thought he would hold the Jets to 2 or 3 goals. I didn't think he was going to have a bad game, but another shutout is absolutely insane. I will say, from a few of the highlights that I saw, he got a little bit lucky. Some pucks just floated right past the net, in through the crease, right past the net. A few of them got kind of behind him, but a shutout is a shutout, man. The Jets had over 60 shots, not on goal, but they had 60 shot attempts. Over 30 shots on goal, though, and not one of them went in. And that's a props to the defenseman on the Wild. That's props to everyone being wild, being aggressive, getting the puck out of the danger area is what I'm trying to say. Either way, Wild are now 12-7-4, I think. Great run. Or actually, they have 13 wins now. Let me correct myself when I can. So they are getting right to it. They're doing way better now. Hit the goal horn. We got to do that. All right. Along with some more content on the Wild and Vikings this week, we got a Wolves game day tomorrow against Sacramento. Um, in the next few days, you can expect a Minnesota Twins free agent target list, if there even is any guys that they are targeting or can spend money on. We never know. But we'll be going through that, and I think I'll have Jackson on for that. He's a big baseball geek. He'll have some good banter about that. Other than that, we'll have some more episodes this week. Follow on Instagram, follow on Spotify for the audio listeners. It's rough out here, man. Minnesota sports. We got the Wild though, and they come up clutch to make the day not as dreadful, but another Vikings pitiful loss. And I will talk to you guys soon again.